Hi everyone, and thanks for joining another knowledge sharing session. My name is Adrian, and today we're going to talk a bit about different scaffolds that you can use in every Webiny project and that essentially enable you to move faster when it comes to creating new APIs, new React apps, utility packages, and so on. We're not going to go too much into detail how every one of these scaffolds work. But the goal of this video is to just give you an overview of what's out there and to help you to choose the right tool for the job. And before we move on, in front of me I have a brand new Webiny project and it's already been deployed to AWS. And I also have a local development server running on port 3000. As we can see here, we have it running here in the browser. It's a admin app that comes with every Webiny installation by default. So let's get started. The first thing we want to do is run the following command, which is going to be yarn Webiny scaffold. So in front of us we have a couple of scaffolds to choose from. The first one in line is the GraphQL Apollo service. And we're going to start with that one. And yeah, we're going to press enter here. And the first question it's going to ask us is the package location. So we're going to go with the default one, which means that our newly generated files are going to be generated in this API folder here. So we're going to press enter. Then we have the name of the initial data model. We're going to press enter here as well. And right now the files are being generated. So service files were created in the API books folder, as we can see here. Yeah, we have it right there. Then the workspace workspace's key was updated in the package.json, in the root package.json file. We also have our resources.js file updated. If you don't know what that is, the resources.js file is a file that represents your whole API cloud infrastructure, and it's basically used every time you try to deploy something. Our CLI will read this file and deploy accordingly. And yeah, after that some dependencies were installed and basically we are done. So it says we can start by editing the files in this folder, and if we want to check if everything works okay, we can run yarn test. And finally we can deploy the newly generated code, so in other words the new part of our API by running the following command, which is webiny deploy API --env local. And I already did that, so let's see what we have right now. So in front of us we have the GraphQL playground, and it's pointing to this URL, which is, as we can see, CloudFront/GraphQL, and basically represents our GraphQL API for the whole app we're building. And in here, in the docs tab, we have all of the fields that we can use. So we have the queries and mutations. But notice that we also have two new fields added. So the first one is books in the queries field, and of course we have the books in the mutations field or section. And if we click on the books, we can see we have three fields here: create, update, and delete book. And of course in the queries section we have get books and list books. So what we have here, we have a basic set of fields that enable us to perform CRUD operations with our initial data model that we defined while we were running the scaffold tool. If you don't know how all of this works, I'm sure you might have questions in your head. You can head out to this YouTube video we have, and it's called API Development with Webiny, and it basically covers all that. So if you want to learn more, feel free to check this out. And with that, we also have this article on our official documentation pages. It's called Webiny Architecture API, and yeah, as you can see, it explains how what the architecture looks like, how it's all connected, and so on. So yeah, definitely go check out these two links if you're interested in learning more. The links will be included in the description of this video. All right, now that we have the GraphQL Apollo service scaffold covered, let's move on to the next one. So the next scaffold we have, let's run again yarn Webiny scaffold. So the next scaffold we have is the Lambda function. And again, as the name itself says, this scaffold will help us, it will generate a template files, a boilerplate files for creating a new Lambda function. And again, the first question it asks us is where do we want our new function to be created? So we're going to go with the default API/new function, and it's going to create it for us. And let's check out the code, how that looks like. So we're going to go and open this new function folder, then src, and finally the index.ts. And if you ever worked with functions, with Lambda functions, to be more precise, you can see this function can be used as a function that's invoked by API gateway. So normally when the function is invoked by the API gateway, you want to return a status code to it and a body with, of course, all the data that's relevant. But note that you don't have to use this function exclusively with API gateway. Of course, functions can be triggered by other cloud services as well, for example, S3, when, for example, a file is created or deleted and so on. So don't be limited by this initial function content. You can modify it as you might need. And right now, what I will demonstrate is how we can expose this function via our API gateway. What I mean by that, so we're going to go to our resources.js file, and here we have all of the resources that were deployed, and one of the resources is of course the API, which is representing the API gateway. And in it, I just added a single entry here, and basically I exposed our newly created function via this route. So if we go to the browser right now and open the same CloudFront URL, but instead of GraphQL we visit this menu function URL, then we will be able to access our newly created function. As we can see, we got the correct message. It says hello from a new function, and we also have this payload returned to us. And that's basically it. Pretty simple, right? Let's move on with the next scaffold we have. So we're gonna run again the yarn Webiny scaffold command here, and as you can see, the next one is admin app module. And what this scaffold will do, it will, as the name itself says, it will create a new admin app module in our existing admin app. And what that means, it will basically create a new item in this menu here, and we will be able to click on it, and we will be redirected to a new route, which will render a simple CRUD form. So a form where we can list some records, create new ones, and update existing ones, of course. Yeah, let's see that in action as well. So we're gonna press enter here, and as always, the first question we get asked is the location of our new admin app module. We're gonna go with the default, which is app/admin/src plugins books. And of course, we get asked the initial data model name. We're gonna go with the default as well, and it's done. So it created the files in the mentioned path. And we also have this note at the end, which says, in order to see your new module in the admin app, you must register the generated plugins. And we have two steps here we need to follow. So number one, open this app.tsx file here. So we're gonna do that right now. And step two is import and pass the generated plugins to the app template via the plugins array. So what that means, we're going to create a new plugins property here. It's going to be an array. And we also need to import the generated plugins here. So we're going to do import books plugins from plugins/books. And just to get some perspective here, I'm going to show you this file in the directory tree. So this app.tsx file is located in the apps/admin/src/app.tsx, and we imported the books plugins from this plugins folder here and from this folder here, which of course has the index.ts. And what this index.ts file exports is just two objects, which are essentially just plugins that the admin app will be able to use. So we're done. I just need to add these books plugins here into this array. Gonna press save, and let's open the admin app and see what we got. So let's open the menu. At the top, we can see we have the new section books, and in it just one menu item, again books. And if we click on that, we are redirected to the books URL. And in front of us, we have a simple CRUD form. On the left side, we have the list of all records. And on the right side, we have a form which we can use to create new and update existing records. Right now, it's not connected to the API, and it won't work because it's up to you now to edit, or in other words, adapt this code to your needs. So you will be able to add, of course, new fields here and adjust the GraphQL queries and things like that. And that's basically it, which means we can move again to the next scaffolding line. So let's see what we have next. In the next scaffold list, we have 3 more scaffolds that we can use. We have Node package, React package, and React app. And right now we're going to focus on these 2 simply because they serve a similar purpose. They both help you to create a package that can be used across multiple other packages, for example, multiple API packages or React apps and so on. And Node package is most often used to create utilities, for example, classes or functions that you will be using across API packages. And but it's not limited to only API. You can certainly use in your React apps. And React package is more suited for creating React packages, React-based packages that can contain, for example, custom components, maybe some hooks and other React-specific utilities. So right now we're just going to go and create a new Node package. And we're going to create it in the default packages/myutils folder. We're going to call it myutils and press enter. So it's installing some dependencies, it's doing the initial build. And if we open our directory tree, we will see that we have this packages folder created for us. And in there we have myutils and of course the source code for our new package. Let's see what we have in the index.ts. So as we can see, we have a basic function. And it says here, reference it from other packages via the following import statement. So let's try to import this function from the admin app we've been already working with in this video. So I'm going to again go to app/admin src, and there I'm going to open app.tsx. So below the existing import statement here, I'm going to add another one. And this time I will just paste the code that I got from this file that was created for us, and that should do it. Let's try to see what myutils actually is, and of course this works at all. So I'm gonna press save right now. I'm gonna go again back to the browser, and as we can see here, we got our console log. It basically printed out a plain function. So one thing to note here is this import statement. In this import statement, we used this to import our newly created package. We just typed myutils. And you might be asking yourself how this is possible. This is possible basically because we are running a monorepo organization, and we're using a tool called Lerna to do that. And with that, there are some steps needed to connect these packages together, but that's all being handled by the scaffold, so you don't have to worry about that. The only thing you might find useful is that this myutils package is basically the name of the package that we typed in here. And in the end, that name ended up in our newly created package JSON, and it's of course set here as the name of the package. And another necessary piece of information that you will definitely need is that we cannot just do changes here and expect our app to have them. So, for example, if we said hello world here, See, nothing is happening here. Browser is not refreshing. Let's just refresh it just in case. Again, from the console log, we got the plain old function. So that means these changes weren't propagated. And this is because how the project is organized and the monorepo structure and a couple of other things. But most importantly, for you to be able to continue the development, you are going to use, again, the tool called Learner, we just mentioned a couple of minutes ago. And with that, we can run commands across multiple packages. And that will enable us to run the watch command that is included in every new package, in every node package that you create. So we can just type here, learn run watch, and then we're just gonna set the scope. In other words, we're just gonna list the packages that we want the watch command to be run on, and we're gonna type the package name here, which is of course myutils. So just to be super clear, when we say learn run watch, this watch is actually defined in our package JSON in our scripts section here, and this is the command that's actually ran when we ran this command here. So that means our changes will be noticed by our app, and certainly enough, if we open the browser has refreshed already. We didn't just see it, but yes, in the console here we can see that we got a different output. Now we have a function that's going to return a hello world message. And that means we can continue our development and of course build our new utility package. And the same goes with the mentioned React package that we mentioned a couple of minutes ago. And finally, let's see what the React app scaffold is all about. And we're gonna choose it right here. We're gonna generate the files in the default apps/myapp folder. And right now it's asking us to choose an app template. And we have 3 templates to choose from. We have custom app, admin app, and site app. And in short, the custom app is just a basic React app with no plugins in it at all. It's gonna just render a white screen with a simple message, and you're free to do whatever you might need from that point on. And then we have the admin app and the site app. And essentially, these are the apps that you already have here. So the admin and site folders represent those. And you might need these if you, for example, need another administration running for your project, or you might have another site that you want to run. These can help you definitely to move faster, because you won't be needing to, of course, register all of those plugins that are needed in order to be able to run these. But for demonstration purposes, I'm just going to go with the custom app, because these work basically in the same way, all of 3. And it's going to be enough just if we take a look at this first one. So let's press enter here. Now it's generating some files for us. And we have some next steps here. So it says this spot here is your app's entry point. Start coding from there. So let's open this spot here. All right, we're here. And as we can see, again, it's a very, very simple app. It's just saying, welcome to your scaffolded React application. So step 2 is run yarn start in the same folder. So let's do that. Let's navigate to apps, then my app, and finally run yarn start from there. So it's starting our development server. Notice this time we are running it on port 3000. So we're just going to wait for that to finish. All right. And if we go back to the browser, we can see, of course, we have the welcome to your scaffolded React application in front of us. So that means everything is working just fine. And you can treat this application as any other application. For example, the admin app that we've already seen before. And that basically covers everything there is to know about the scaffolds that come out of the box with every Webiny project. I hope you'll learn something today, and that you'll be able to use the right tool for the job in your particular case. But in case you have more questions, feel free to ping us always on our Slack or on our community forum. And yeah, with that being said, thank you for watching this video, and see you in another one. Bye.